Welcome back, and in today's video we have a new update with the Onision investigation, and I've got a new update with my ears. Let me make it like this. It looks like some new reports have came out about Onision, and it looks like no criminal activity was found by Pierce County Sheriff's Department. It also shows within detail a near chronological breakdown of how they conducted the investigation. We're going to talk about some details that have been detrimental in this case, and we're going to compare it to what we know for sure as a community. All that and more in today's episode of Exploring YouTubers. So this comes from a Twitter account, Good Citizen Records. It says, here's the newest Onision police report I have. It details Sarah's interaction with the Pierce County Sheriff's Department as of 2020-06-23. PCSD was unable to establish that a crime occurred in Pierce County. The report also says out of all the girls, Sarah was the only one they were able to interview. In a previous record release, Billy and one other person contacted PCSD via email, but never got a response. It also says the only redaction within this document is Sarah's last name, which we're just going to replace that last name with Sarah since it's something that we've talked about many times publicly on this channel. They go on to say, regardless if a crime was committed or can be proven to have committed, Onision is still human trash. So first things first, it's been a while since we've covered Onision, so I think I should refresh you, my viewers, my beautiful viewers, as to who this person is. YouTube says James Jackson, known professionally by his online alias Onision, is an American YouTuber, musician, and author. He's 35 years old. He's also been accused of predatory grooming and not okay behavior by at least 6 women, several of whom were interviewed by Chris Hansen on his live stream. At least 2 of the women were former fans. And also, if you don't know what grooming is, it's this. Grooming is the process of establishing trust in order to take advantage of someone in an inappropriate way. Trust is created by treating someone well, giving them gifts, or showing them attention. Online grooming can be perpetrated to enable abuse online or offline, according to the National Violence Resource Center, which provides education and resources, and I'll put some of those in the pinned comment. Now, it's important before we go forward and start breaking down this report to understand that this report is made objectively from an officer placing out the facts as they are. It's very impartial. So a lot of you guys who have become very emotionally invested in this, as have I, you're going to read this stuff because us as a community, we know a lot more of the details in this situation that the officers really don't know. This is somebody that's coming in objectively, not biased, not that is impartial, and they're just getting the facts straight, and they present them in this case report that we're going to go over now. Also, I will be linking this entire report in the pinned comment below. I am still wanting to verify this further. I'm about 80 to 90% sure that this is a legitimate, verified report. I've talked to several of the people that are included in this report, and they seem to verify this. I've also additionally requested a copy of my own, and when that gets in, I'll update you on that. In September of 2019, the Pierce County Sheriff's Department received information regarding possible inappropriate exploitation crimes against a residence at Gig Harbor. At the time of the initial complaints, there was very little information about the alleged crimes and no first-hand reports from any alleged survivors. The complaints centered around YouTube creator James Jackson, aka Gregory Alvaro, who was known by his YouTube username Onision. The original alleged events were documented under PCSD FIR 192590267 and cleared with no evidence of any criminal activity. Honestly, we shouldn't be surprised by this, and it's not because Onision treads on the line of what is a legal thing and what is not a legal thing, but it's mostly because of the low amount of information that law enforcement received from multiple parties involved in this situation. And anything that was substantial was tampered with or put in an office for a long time and sent back to the person who sent it to them. And we're going to get into more about that later on in the video. Following the documentation under the previous case number, the Pierce County Sheriff's Department received 40 additional emails regarding the same or similar alleged events from third-party reporters who had heard about the alleged things through social media accounts. In addition, numerous other social media content creators developed channels and content directly related to the alleged events in an attempt to conduct their own online investigations as to what may have occurred. And we're the third party that this report's talking about. Me and you as the viewers who have come together collectively to send in reports and anonymous informations, or maybe you weren't anonymous at all, but I'm really proud of everybody who's done this and the community that collectively came together in order to help other people. On 10/2/19, PCSD received a press inquiry from a reporter with Vox Media named McKenna Kelly. Kelly reported that she had spent time speaking to a number of women who alleged Jackson had groomed them and coerced them into having intercourse. Kelly went on to say that many of these girls were only 14 to 16 years old at the time of these alleged events. Kelly requested confirmation that an investigation had been started and provided her contact information. I later contacted Kelly by telephone and advised her PCSD had received alleged events from multiple third parties but had not heard from anyone who claimed to be a survivor of a crime. I encouraged her to pass on my contact information to the women she had spoken to so they could contact me if they wanted to report a crime to PCSD jurisdiction. I was not contacted by anyone else as a result of my conversation with Kelly. Now, like I said, I've had my suspicions with this report because this comes out. I don't know who the person is on this Twitter account that's putting it out there, so I'm not going to take it at face value. So I reached out to a couple of the girls who were stated in this report to verify if they had talked to McKenna Kelly or if they had a voicemail. And though some of the girls had not received any voicemails at all, some of them had, and some of them did remember talking to McKenna Kelly. So that's where it puts me in the ballpark of about this being 80% right. But like I said, I have requested my own copy, and when that comes in, I'll let you guys know. But I'm pretty sure that this is valid. On January 2020, I became aware of a media investigation into the alleged events against Jackson, which was being conducted by Chris Hansen via his YouTube channel, Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. Hansen is a well-known media personality who focused on stories about accused sex offenders and child P-words. As a part of his reporting, Hansen attempted to contact Jackson at his residence in Gig Harbor on 1/9/20. I think we remember how that went down, where he showed up at Onision's house, knocked on the door. Onision called the law on him. It was a whole thing, and it was how he set up things in like a movie format, because what he was really doing was creating a TV show out of that. I did a whole video on it. It's this one right here. I'll put it in the pinned comment to catch you up on that. Onision called 911 and deputies responded, and Hansen and his crew ultimately left the location without speaking to Jackson. Hansen subsequently released a series of interviews with the alleged survivors and others with information about the alleged crimes on his YouTube channel. Over the next several months, in addition, Hansen contacted PCSD and completed an interview with our information officer, Troyer. I requested through Troyer that Hansen provide PCSD with a list of alleged survivors so they could be contacted for interviews to determine the existence and extent of any criminal activity that occurred in the PCSD jurisdiction. And then on 02/06/20, I received a list which contained the first names of the phone number of 7 alleged survivors who had appeared on Hansen's show. The list included the names Regina, Lane, Billy, Haley, Ayala, and Shiloh. Additionally, the list contained the name of Sarah, who is later able to be identified as Sarah Blank. Now, this is the part where every other part that says blank will be replacing with Sarah. How it works with raising awareness and doing interviews on platforms. Like I said, I can't speak for anybody else, but what I do here on my channel is I offer my platform and give a voice to people to share their story so it can raise more awareness and empower other people to come forward to tell their stories and keep people informed on what to watch out for. But at the end of the day, they do have to do an interview with the police. You have to make a report on these crimes. You don't have to do this publicly. You can absolutely do this anonymously. You don't even have to come on anybody's channel to share your story. You can talk to people. Like if you have something that you need to share, I can point you in the right direction of authorities to talk to, and you can do this anonymously. No one's going to know you said anything, but it will help people towards criminal activities to put the bad people behind bars. But I wholly believe in the power of sharing your stories publicly because it increases the probability that other people are going to come forward because they're going to feel empowered and increase the chances that these people get caught. Following Information Officer Troyer's interview with Hansen, I learned that the FBI had also received numerous emails regarding the same alleged events from third parties. I contacted FBI Special Agent Mendoza by telephone after learning she was assigned to the case for further investigation. Special Agent Mendoza confirmed that the FBI had received a large number of tips similar to what the PCSD had received, but had not been able to establish a crime had occurred. Special Agent Mendoza told me that the FBI had spoken with Sarah, but had not been able to establish a crime had occurred based on the interview. Special Agent Mendoza told me Sarah had reported that inappropriate images were exchanged and sent between her and Onision while Sarah was still a minor. Special Agent Mendoza said that a computer belonging to Sarah had been turned over to the FBI for examination for any evidence to support Sarah's claims, and then a decision would be made on how the FBI would proceed. Special Agent Mendoza also provided me with Sarah's contact information and full name for my investigation. So a little bit more confirmation that there is an investigation both conducted by the Sheriff's Office of Pierce County and the FBI. But you and me, we know what happened to that laptop. It was sent to Chris Hansen's assistant to hold on to which he never sent it to the FBI, and it was subsequently sent back to Sarah. So anything that could have been used on that laptop, the FBI could not take because it was out of the chain of custody and it could have been tampered with, so they were not able to use that as evidence. And this furthered no criminal activity being found by authorities. On 3/9/20 at approximately 14:50 hours, I spoke with Sarah by telephone regarding this investigation. Sarah told me that she did not want our conversation to be recorded, but agreed to talk to me about the alleged events. Sarah told me that she initially learned about Jackson's YouTube channel when she was approximately 14 years old. Sarah said she developed an online friendship with Jackson and his wife, Kai Jackson, who at the time identified as female. Sarah said that she communicated with Jackson and Kai via direct messaging on Twitter application, though she admitted most of her communication was directly with Kai because they were able to relate better. Sarah told me that during the time she communicated with Kai, they spoke about all different types of topics, including relationship issues, friends, and their sex lives. Sarah told me that she had also sent pictures of her BREASTS and a picture of her in her underwear to Kai over direct messages. Sarah said Kai also sent her similar messages, but they had all been deleted. And so again, this falls back on that laptop where it would have shown these types of images, which you can say about it all day long, but when it comes to the law, they got to have the evidence, and they wasn't able to get that. So it seems like the ball is being dropped by multiple different parties in this situation. Sarah told me that she talked to Kai about a fight she had with her mom, and they discussed Sarah flying out to Washington State from her home in Michigan when she was 16 years old. And I'm guessing that's probably when they took legal guardianship. At some point, very close to this, Onision and Kai did take legal guardianship of Sarah. Sarah said she ultimately visited Jackson and Kai in September of 2016 for Kai's baby shower. Sarah said that she stayed for 5 to 6 days but returned to Michigan because her uncle had passed away from cancer. Sarah told me that nothing inappropriate in nature occurred during this first trip to Washington. Sarah said she returned to Washington State in October of 2016 and lived with Jackson and Kai until late February 2017. I guess this is when they took custody. Sarah said she helped with chores around the house, such as cleaning, cooking, and caring for Jackson's kids. Sarah described herself as being like a live-in nanny, but she said she was not paid for any of the work she did. Sarah told me during the visit she started to really love Kai as a person, but didn't have the same feelings for Jackson. Sarah said Jackson would verbally abuse her by calling her names, scaring her, and belittling her. Sarah said she would occasionally bathe in the shower in front of Kai while they were talking, but did not have any kind of inappropriate contact with Jackson or Kai during this trip. Sarah said that she ultimately returned to Michigan due to all the drama in the Jackson household. This does make a lot of sense because on multiple live streams, Sarah did admit that she did develop feelings for Onision and Kai and that she just couldn't help it. And Onision has also said publicly that he was very mean to Sarah. He belittled her. He said mean things to her. He didn't like her, he said. Sarah said that she visited the Jacksons again from August 2017 until November 2017, and this time lived in a mother-in-law suite on their property. Sarah said that she continued to do housework, but also worked at a Target store in Puyallup, so she had a little bit more freedom. Sarah said that there was not any discussion of inappropriate stuff, and at the time, she still felt closer to Kai than Jackson. Sarah told me that she returned to the Jackson residence in July 2018 and stayed until late August 2018. She told me that she turned 18 during this visit, and Jackson, who had rarely shown any interest or affection towards her, suddenly began to treat her much better. Well, that's very strange and peculiar. Was mean to her. This is confirmed by Sarah, apparently, from this report. He showed no interest in her when she was under the age of 18 and then started showing interest after the age of 18. I'm guessing this is where the alleged grooming situation comes in because at one point he did have custody of her and they had been talking to her since she was, the young age of 14 years old. And it is a very strange situation. I'm actually really wanting to know what you guys think about this. Let me know in the comment section below. Sarah told me the relationship she had with Jackson and Kai evolved to a point where they would lie in bed together to watch movies and would joke about having threesomes. I probably should edit or censor that word. Sarah said it seemed like Jackson was pressuring her and Kai to become intimate while trying to determine her level of interest in him. Sarah told me Jackson made a comment to her that he wasn't in love with her, but he loved her. She told me Jackson clarified that he felt people needed to have sex to be in love. This could have just been a move by him to make Sarah feel more open to having a relationship with him in the sex realm, because to me it seems like wordplay. It's like, oh, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. If you want me to be in love with you, we're gonna have to do this. That's how I feel about it. Sarah said she returned to Washington in January of 2019 for a trip that only lasted a few days. She told me that during this trip, she engaged in this with Jackson and Kai on 2 occasions. Sarah said Kai felt ignored during the trip and was hurt by that, but otherwise the trip was uneventful. Sarah told me that she was a willing participant in any inappropriate activity that took place during this trip. Sarah said that she returned to Washington for approximately 1 week at the end of June 2019. She told me Jackson tried to convince Sarah and Kai to participate in inappropriate behavior, and on the last night of her visit, the three of them had sex. Sarah said it was fine, and she admitted that she also agreed to be Jackson's girlfriend during the visit despite his marriage to Kai. And again, we as a community know a lot of details and a lot more things about this situation than even they do. This is like raw, pure fact. Like a good example of this is that we know for a fact that at least between Sarah and Kai, there were inappropriate images exchanged. This was verified on both ends out of the horse's mouth. But the law needs the evidence of this stuff, and that is what they don't have, and that's why they're coming up with no criminal activity found. Sarah told me she came back to Washington in late July 2019 for the last time. She said that Kai had traveled to New Mexico, so she and Jackson were alone at the house for the first time. Sarah told me that she and Jackson engaged in inappropriate things during the trip and admitted it had been consensual. Sarah told me that Kai found out about what had happened and got upset about it. Sarah told me Jackson claimed she had blackmailed him into having sex, and they ultimately broke up. Sarah said that she felt overwhelmed with the entire situation, so she returned home and had not returned to Washington. You know, looking at it objectively from what we have here, it sounds like, because we've heard the whole blackmail situation before, we didn't believe it, but now looking at it, it looks like a husband who cheated on his wife and used blackmail as an excuse to get out of hot water. I asked Sarah if she'd ever been an unwilling participant in any type of inappropriate activity with Kai or Jackson. Sarah told me she never told them no. This could be interpreted in many different ways, and admitted she was not sure if she was a survivor of any crime. She confirmed that she had given her laptop to investigators and she was aware it was in the FBI's possession. Well, she had thought that, but as we found out, it never did get there for examination to determine if any of the images exchanged between her and Kai had violated laws. I advised Sarah that I would follow up with Special Agent Mendoza, but that based on the information she had provided. I did not believe a crime had taken place in the Pierce County Sheriff's Department jurisdiction. So again, there's an ongoing FBI investigation into this stuff. Factually, nothing has been presented to waive this officer's mind to any criminal activity being taken place. So this next part documents a conversation between the Pierce County officer and the special agent from the FBI. On 6/22/20, I spoke with Special Agent Mendoza by telephone to follow up on their investigation. Special Agent Mendoza told me the examination had not yet been completed and advised she had no other information on any crimes that occurred in PCSD jurisdiction. She told me that she would notify me if the examination provided any details about criminal activity that needed further investigation. So this was the conclusion he came to. As of 6/23/20, I have not heard back from any of the other women who were alleged survivors of Jackson. All the women who were in contact with Chris Hansen at some point did media interviews and had an opportunity to file a police report if warranted. Sarah was a willing participant in SCX activity after the age of consent. In fact, turning 18 years old and was not under the legal care or custody of Jackson or Kai. Based on the information gathered during my investigation, I have not been able to establish that a crime occurred. This report is for informational purposes due to the high volume of third-party and social media interest. There is nothing further at this time. So this was specifically made for third-party, being us, which strikes me as an odd. And I'd like to say, like I said, there are some people who didn't receive voicemails. And I still can't 100% verify if this is legitimate or not, but I'm about 80% sure. And hopefully they get back to me with the requested documents so I can let you guys know. But it seems to me like the ball's been dropped several times in this investigation, and I hate to see that. This doesn't mean that Sarah or any of the other girls coming forward with their story was a bad thing, because it was a great thing. It empowered multiple other people. Even outside of this investigation, even outside of the topic of Onision, it has empowered other people to come forward with their stories. It empowers the whole culture in general. So definitely they didn't do anything wrong. But there were some mishaps and missteps so far. It isn't over. In fact, one of the girls, Regina, I'll have to check with my lawyer if I'm even allowed to talk about anything right now, but I will say this. Those records are over a year old. People talk and things progress. She also tweeted, "Y'all seem real certain after reading records from over a year ago." So obviously there's some stuff that we don't know, some developments that are happening behind the scenes, and Regina's going to get back to me on that, and when she does, I'll let you guys know. If she gets back to me before tomorrow, I might put it in my Rep Reports video, so make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on. I definitely wouldn't take these old records as a sign of Onision's innocence, because he's not a completely innocent person at all, especially given how long federal investigations usually last. So, and another thing that strikes me as an odd is that the investigator said that they have that laptop. Last knowledge I had, they weren't able to use that. I'm believing that's still the case. So that being said, and as interesting as this is, there's always something that's more interesting to me. That's right, you guessed it. I want to know what you think. So why don't you go ahead and leave your creative and interesting responses in the comment box below. Thumbs up for those likes. As always, brothers and sisters, I will see you in the next video. We're going to need some positivity turtles in the chat. This was a pretty crazy report. Didn't expect to see it. Don't exactly know what it means, but it does interest me. And I would like to hear from you guys about this. So, Also, thank you to my patrons. I really appreciate it. If you want to support what I do here on this channel and get your name at the end of my videos with these fine people, the patron link will be in the pinned comment. And let me know what you think about these pink gauges. I believe that they're a little bit much, or maybe I just need something to match with it. Matches this, but I'm gonna go eat now. Also, if you have topics that you want to hear me talk about for next week, the Instagram DMs are open. The link to that is in the description below, and it's in the pinned comment. So go over there, suggest a way. I'll see if I can cover it if I have the time in that week. And that's just another way to show that you're repping. If you're not repping, you're gagging. How you do that? I gotta subscribe, notification turned on, be in the comment section after every single video, because I'm gonna be there. Greg the cat's gonna be there, and the rest of the Repzilla community as well. And I expect to see you there too, because this channel loves you. Almost ran out of breath there.